Your resume might be the reason you're not getting interviews. So you've applied to 20, 30, and 50 roles, and guess what? Nothing. The truth is, a few resume mistakes could be making recruiters skip your resume within 6 seconds. And sometimes it's not even the recruiters, it could be the ATS softwares, application tracking systems that they've set up. It could just reject your resume in 6 seconds. Have you ever applied for a job and in less than 1 minute you get a rejection mail, or you get an email that you've been moved to the next stage? In this video, I'm going to break down the most common resume mistakes and how to fix them so you can finally get the callbacks that you deserve. This is a service that I'm charging for, so make sure you bring your notepad and watch this video to the very end, because I'm very sure you're going to get one or two things that would be beneficial to you. So let's get straight into it. The number one mistake that you might be making is that your resume is too long and too wordy. Look at it. Like, anybody looking at your resume honestly doesn't have 5 minutes to go through your entire resume, because they have like hundreds and thousands of people that they are also looking at resumes for. So why should they spend more than 2 seconds in your resume, right? So always ensure that your resume is not long and it's not wordy. As someone who is, let's say your entry level, your resume should not pass 1 page. In fact, as a junior, even a mid level, your resume should not pass 1 page. Even a senior, your resume should not pass 1 page. But then from the senior level upwards, you can make your resume up to 2 pages, right? It shouldn't exceed 2 pages, because what are you writing? Move the rest to your LinkedIn, and also try to remove old roles. I know you're trying to tell us the amazing things that you've done in the past years, but in recent times, when recruiters are looking at your portfolio, your resume rather, they're looking at your recency, the recency of your skills. What have you been able to do in the last 2 or 3 years? So you inputting something that you did 10 years ago in your resume honestly doesn't make sense, right? Stick to 1 page, especially if you're less than 10 years of experience. Even if you're more than 10 years of experience, it shouldn't exceed the 2 pages, right? Focus on relevant roles and relevant things that you've done. Focus on the impact, not the job duties. There's a difference between saying, I made a post on social media, and you saying, I made a post on social media that had XYZ number of impressions and XYZ number of profile clicks or something like that. Always measure impact in your resumes. The next thing you need to do is use bullet points in your resume. Nobody has the time to start reading a whole long paragraph of what you've done and what you've not done. Use bullet points and use verbs. Use verbs. Verbs are action words. Do not use things that are in past tense. Use action words. For instance, led XYZ thing, or built XYZ thing, or managed XYZ thing, or created XYZ thing, or improved XYZ thing. Always use action words, because then you using action words, it leads to the impact. The second mistake that you might be making is that you are using one resume for all the roles that you're applying for. Have you ever heard this thing where they say tailor your resume to every role? Yes, I know it can be very stressful. That's why applying for jobs is like a full-time job on its own. But there's no other thing you can do. Like, honestly, you have to do the work. You're looking for a work. What you need to do is tailor your resume. You have to tailor the resume, right? You don't have any other option not to. So you need to know that your resume does not fit all the roles that you're applying for, regardless of if you're applying for a digital marketer role in all those companies. Different companies have their different interpretation of what they want in a digital marketer, and you cannot possibly use that one resume to apply. The thing is, recruiters can tell when you're just sending a resume to them. They know, because it's their work. Obviously, they've seen various kinds of resumes. When you're just sending a resume, you have one template somewhere that you get and you just pick it up, send, apply. They know, right? And how you need to stand out is to tailor your resume for each of the jobs that you are applying for. What does it mean to tailor your resume? You use keywords. So in most cases, I have a video up on prompting, ChatGPT prompting for job seekers. I'm going to link that somewhere so you can go and watch that. I also added a prompt library resource that you can check, because you can use tools like that to get that easy for you. So for me, how I typically do it is to copy my resume, paste it in ChatGPT, and then copy the job description and paste it in ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to use that job description and rewrite my resume using keywords from the job description. It's going to do that. I don't need to rack my brain and try to stress myself in trying to tailor my resume, right? Because tailoring your resume basically means matching the keywords in the job description in your resume. So there's something you should know. There's a software called application tracking system. Look at it like most companies don't have that patience, they don't have that manpower to start vetting hundreds of applications for a particular role. So for companies that are hiring up to maybe 5 or 10 or 20 roles, or even if it's just one role, and you see lots of people apply, where do you think they have the energy from to come and start looking at one? Like, it's just not a smart thing to do. So the way these softwares are set up, there are certain parameters that they have to put in place that track. So based on the particular role that they are hiring for, they can input certain keywords that software should pass. So it's just like scanning your resume. So the software scans your resume when you submit, and it picks out those keywords. And if you don't have those keywords in your resume, darling, you're going to get a rejection email no matter how good you are. Another thing that you need to focus on when tailoring your resume is the tools and the skills. So always pay attention to what they are looking for in a job description. Another mistake that you might be making in your resume is not adding metrics. There's a difference between listing out your task and providing impact. I don't know if that makes sense. It should. So let me try to give an example. There's a difference between saying I managed a community of 200 people. That's a task that you've done. But when you want to add impact, you can say something like I managed a community of 200 people. You can also add impacts like how many percentage of them has attended your events, or how many percentage of them became users or became advocates or became content creators or advocates for that brand. It's not just you managing a group of people. How did you come about managing them? What is the outcome of you managing these people? Did the community become active? How many of them became more active? Or how many of them actually purchased the product? Stuff like that. So always add impact into your resume. Recruiters love to see the numbers. It is none of their business whether you manage 1,000 people, or whether you built a website that this, or whether you designed that. How is the design that you did on a landing page making more people click through? There are some websites that you go to and they're so ugly and you've left. Like I've had that experience where there are some websites, first of all, I don't even remember their names. I'll just go through and it's so difficult to navigate. I'm like, I beg, let me just go, I beg. And that is it. So how did the design that you worked on allow more users to use that product more conveniently? How many users used it? What's the click-through rate? They want to hear the numbers. So numbers show impact of how many people you reached, not the actual task, right? So for instance, instead of saying you manage social media for a company, which is good, but that's a task, you can say something like you increased the Twitter engagement by 60% in 3 months. So anybody listening to that will know that in 3 months, this person managed a Twitter account, and based on what they did, all the activities that they did, they were able to increase engagement. So at that point, they don't want to know how many posts you made or if you manage the account or not. They shall want to know that because you manage his account, regardless of the kind of post that he sent out and all, you were able to boost engagement by 30%, and you were able to do this by 60% in 3 months. So now someone would immediately think, if he or she did this in 3 months, imagine what they can do in 1 year. So another thing that might be affecting your resume, another mistake that you might be making, is that your resume is so cluttered and it's in an unreadable format. Again, when writing your resumes, know that you have to pay attention to what application tracking systems use and how it passes resume. It's just like you reading words from left to right, left to right. You cannot come and start writing your own from right to left. Always try to use clean formatting, use a lot of white space. Having too many choked up words can ruin your resume, because when that software is passing your resume, even not just the software, even if an individual is trying to look through your resume, at the end of the day, if they look at it and everything is just so cluttered, they will leave because they are confused. They're like, what is this person writing? Where do I even look? Alright, so always have a lot of white space in your resume, and then stick to 1 or 2 font sizes. You don't need to show how stylish you are as a designer. You just want to go straight to the point and show the impact of work. So this is not where to come and start experimenting with different fonts. Stick to 1 or 2 fonts. You can use one particular font for the headings, which is bold and readable, and then you also have another readable font for the main body, right? And try to keep it consistent across. Always export your resume as PDF, except they tell you send it as a Word document or share a link. Always export as a resume. And then always use professional headings on your resume. You can't say stuffs that I've worked on. It's Gen Z-ish, but 80 software would know that. So use standardized headings like professional summary, professional experience, tools, education. Don't try to be too stylish, because again, you're trying to get a job. So this is not what you're trying to show, that you're agency or you're not agency. Another thing that people miss out on is that you don't have any focus or personal brand. Resumes are official, all right, we all agree, but then it should tell your personal story. And where do you tell this personal story? In your professional bio. Have a clear headline and summary. Most people used to put something like results driven something with over XYZ number. No, tell a story. What do you do? Your professional summary is like that space where you can brag, a space where you can brag about the things that you've done. Start with a little introduction of who you are, what you do, your experience, and your past projects, the impact that you've made in general, right? And don't forget to always align the skills in the job description. So even when you're writing your resume for every job application, you're not just rewriting the things that you did. Even your professional summary follows. So try to bring out the things that you've done in the past and push that into a summary, like based on what that company is looking for at the time. So your resume isn't just a document, it's your first impression. So when you avoid these common mistakes, you're going to start getting interviews faster than you ever think. And if you feel like this is not sufficient and you want to go on a one-on-one session with me, of course, I have a paid one-on-one session where I can help you revamp your resume, or we can just hop on a call and we revamp it together, or I can do it for you. So don't forget, clean formatting, tailor your resume for every role, focus on the results, focus on the impact, and then have a story to tell. If this video helped you, hit the subscribe button, like this video, drop a comment, and share with people you think this would be helpful to. And also let me know in the comments what resume mistakes you have made out of all the ones that I've mentioned. Until my next one, see ya. Bye.